Welcome to the Twisted Tentacle Inn. I am your Innkeeper Vase Odin, and today we'll be talking about drawing the sign. Before we begin, I should warn you that this video will contain minor spoilers for the Path to Carcosa campaign for the Arkham Horror living card game, and will make reference to some story elements of other campaigns of Arkham Horror the card game, as well as spoilers for some of Robert W. Chambers' work. You have been warned. Drawing the sign is a basic weakness from the Path to Carcosa cycle. It has the Pact and Madness traits. When you draw this card, your hand size is reduced by 5 during the upkeep phase, and you have to spend 2 actions to remove the weakness from your threat area. Mechanically, this weakness is generally fairly mild. In certain decks, though, such as a skill-heavy Min and Silas decks, it can be devastating for the primary strategy. In certain decks, it can equate to taking away up to 7 actions. In other decks, it does nothing more than just sit there. But what does this weakness mean in terms of your investigator's story? To find answers, we must delve into the mythos and uncover the meaning of the yellow sign. In Robert W. Chambers' short story, The Yellow Sign, the sign is mentioned briefly, but its importance creeps through the shadows of the entire story. In the story, a painter is suddenly unable to paint due to his paints mixing into a horrid greenish-brown color on the canvas. His model tells him of strange dreams she had of the painter sitting in a coffin inside a hearse. Its driver was pale and soft, like a corpse. Later in the story, the painter starts to think of how much he dislikes a watchman who stands outside an old church by his house. Later, the watchman says to the painter, "Have you found the yellow sign?" Increasingly disturbed by this, the painter eventually finds a copy of The King in Yellow in his library, despite fearing it and having no memory of ever purchasing or owning a copy. His model grabs the book and reads it, suddenly causing her and the painter to begin to act autonomously and losing memory of their actions and words. When he later discovers a clasp of black onyx, he realizes the yellow sign is the clasp, but it is too late. He hears the sounds of the hearse at the front of the house as the driver, who turns out to be the watchman, possessed by the King in Yellow, enters the home, rotting everything he touches. He then touches the model, causing her to die. As other people enter the home, they find the painter standing over 2 bodies, unable to explain the cause of their demise, although the corpse of the watchman had been dead for months. With this story, we can begin to see the effects of the yellow sign, causing madness and doubt about one's own actions. The sign can possess someone and cause them to see and do things, having the person be unable to determine if the things they saw are real or their own minds covering up their own awful actions. Another story from Chambers, The Repairer of Reputations, suggests that anyone who possesses or sees, even by accident, a copy of the sign is susceptible to some sort of insidious mind control or possession by the King in Yellow or one of his heirs. In many of Chambers' stories, the sign also serves to foreshadow corruption and inevitable destruction of those who see it. Knowing this, when you draw the card, you have a world of possibilities as to what has happened to your particular investigator. Maybe you're playing Carcosa, and your investigator saw a play called The King in Yellow, and during their investigation, they got a sudden urge to draw the yellow sign, causing them to leave behind valuable possessions and forgetting things, thus losing cards from their hand. Or perhaps your investigator made a pact many, many years ago with a certain yellow king. They have no memory of it, and it's now beginning to manifest in the form of this madness, causing them to briefly abandon their investigation, as well as tools and skills they were using while investigating. Or it could be that your investigator doesn't even know why, but they're suddenly compelled to draw this sign repeatedly, over and over again. Maybe your investigator found a trinket with the yellow sign and has been keeping it secret from the other investigators, not realizing it's compelling them to draw the yellow sign without their knowledge or memory of it. Taking a different approach, you could even have your investigator be somewhat psychic, and the drawing of the sign is a manifestation of their premonition of impending doom, having them give up hope and dropping everything, just waiting for fate to get its due. This could even be more compelling if you actually lose the scenario. Now, just because the yellow sign is associated with the king in yellow doesn't mean it can't make thematic sense if you're playing in a different campaign. After all, the great old ones work independently and have plots that are working simultaneously and independently from each other. Drawing the sign could be an indication of things to come. Hopefully this video has been helpful for you and given you a new appreciation for this basic weakness. If so, please take the time to hit the like button. It really helps the channel and lets me know to make more videos like this one. Thank you, and I'll talk to you all real soon. I am the Allfather.